Shanti. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanantam Madacharya Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Purushartha Nischaya is the examining the goals of human life. All humans, whether you're in this country or some other country, the Shastra talks about specific goals for all humanity. And we saw that most of humanity is stuck in two goals, which is artha kama, securities and pleasures. We also saw that there is a third Purushartha, which is highlighted by the Shastra, which is actually put first, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That Dharma is put first because it is the marker on which I make my decisions in life. So whatever decisions I take, if it is with accordance with ethical norms, we saw that Dharma, being in harmony with Dharma, produces a unseen result of action which goes into my unseen account, which manifests for me in my life as pleasant situations. Luck factor is by following Dharma. So this Dharma becomes a very important Purushartha. It is something to be chosen. Reaching out as a Purushartha also, one develops into a more charitable personality, reaching out. So one's own needs are not the only needs that matter. Other people are also taken into consideration. And I grow as a human being. We saw that emotional maturity is conducive for spiritual success. So living a life of dharma, it helps me to grow as a human being, reaching out to others also, making their lives better in the process. I'm helping myself and I follow ethics in my pursuit of artha and kama. And even if I think I can gain something by transgressing dharma, some people have, there's a very nice saying. I always like to bring it in here because C.S. Lewis, very famous English author, he said, integrity is doing the right thing even when you know nobody is watching. See, it's very easy to do the right thing when people are watching. But when nobody is watching, are you able to be, true to yourself? Because, see, why dharma becomes important as a purushartha, even though you think people are not watching, there is somebody watching. That somebody is called Karma Dhyaksha. He is the presider over the results of action. He is Antaryami, he is the inner string puller. He is very much there in all that Bhagavan registers the action, he registers the intention. So other people outside may not be watching, but he is observing, he is watching. So this is brought in as a Purushartha Dharma to avoid inner conflicts. See, the mind knows I'm doing the wrong thing, but the tongue speaks something else, and the doer, the action also does not match what is in the mind. So, what Shastra says that internally I've created a split in myself. I may get what I want in life by transgressing ethics, but I have already created that split. That split means whether now or in future, I will not be able to enjoy what I have got through the wrong means. So that is why dharma becomes important as a pursuit. And then finally, we saw just briefly the final as though pursuit. As though pursuit, I'm saying, because you'll see why it is as though. It is the idea of, as I said, losing something that, or trying to gain something in time and space versus something that is with you all along. So we use the example of the reading glasses on the head or the car keys in the pocket, something which is with you all along, and you discover it through how? You discover it through removal of ignorance, right? So ignorance is the gap between what I have already with me and what I think I don't have with me, right? So here, moksha becomes very relevant. What the Upanishads say is that what we seek in life, through artha, kama, dharma, what I'm really seeking is to be happy, is to feel limitlessness, is not to feel bound by anything. So this feeling that I'm not complete right now. I'm inadequate as a person right now. I lack right now. This feeling is, according to Upanishad, unwarranted feeling because you have everything with you. So you are the possessor of what you seek. In fact, the seeker is the sought in this pursuit. So avidya means ignorance. Due to the ignorance of what I am in reality, I take myself to be what I am not. So that is called erroneous projection. We'll see more. What do I take myself to be? I take myself to be limited to this body, mind, senses, and I think I'm this much alone. So ignorance, Shastra says, is the cause of all my seeking in life. In fact, there is no distance in time and space between me and myself. Me and myself, there's no distance. So ignorance is the gap that we have to get over to discover that. So this we saw the moksha manifests the desire for moksha. Moksha is the limitlessness, the desire to be complete. We'll see in positive way, it is wanting to have that limitless joy, that sense of the sense of adequacy, the sense of satisfaction all the time in my life without it, dissipating. So through all the other pursuits, you can see through artha pursuit, what is it I want? In fact, I want moksha. Through kama pursuit, what is it I want? In fact, I want moksha. Through dharma pursuit also, what do I really want? I want moksha. That clarity takes years to actually dawn. What I'm really looking for, what everybody in the world is looking for, is in fact moksha. People don't know it. They call it by every other name. But if you have a conversation with anybody in any language, they will say, this is what I really want. So positively seen, it is discovery of yourself as the meaning of satisfaction. Negatively seen, as I said, it is freedom from all sorrow, freedom from anartha, which means what I don't want. So everything you don't want, when you're free from it, you are muktaha, you are moksha, you've discovered your moksha. But what do I do in life? This is the thing. The urge to be happy Shastra says, is a natural urge. It is just as the urge to satiate my hunger or the urge to quench my thirst. Are they cultivated urges? I am born with these urges. When I get hungry, I need to feed myself. When I'm thirsty, I want to drink something. These are called natural urges. So in the Shastra, the urge to be happy is also included in a natural urge. So there is nothing wrong with this wanting to be happy. There's nothing wrong to wanting to be full and limitless. It is a human urge that you have. But the issue here is that we are looking for this, have to satiate this urge. We're looking to satisfy this urge. Where are we looking to satisfy the urge? We are looking always externally because that's all we know. All the senses, look at Bhagavan's great plan. He has made these sense objects of this world very appealing. He's made everything. He's pointing all the senses outwardly as well. So there's no access to inward. All the senses are also outward. So I think the solution lies externally. Because for hunger, solution is given external world. Thirst, solution is given external world. What is the uniqueness of this urge, though? If you live a few years in this world and you live with a mind that thinks, you will see the solution is not in this external world. It cannot be. Because as soon as I satiate, then I keep getting hungry again in that way. And what I want is 24/7. So the urge is correct. The way I satiate that urge is, Shastra says, erroneous. It is due to ignorance. And that way I satiate that urge is what we call samsara. Samsara is that living to satiate that urge to be happy. What is the fourfold way of, making that urge subside? That urge, first, acquisition of something. Okay, as I said, you acquire something. You don't have this car, you don't have this house, you don't have, this degree, you don't have so many things we can, gain through acquisition to satiate that urge. And when I acquire the thing of my desire, what happens? I am satiated for the time being. I feel, I feel so happy. I got what I want. I've earned it. I've worked for it. I've got it. I'm very, very happy now. So you feel, I acquire. But what does that acquisition teach you? Or what should it teach you if you think a little? So you got what you think is going to make you happy, but suddenly you find it is not making you happy anymore. It is temporary. It is ephemeral. It is fleeting. All the desires that we have fulfilled up to date are fleeting. How do we know that? The very reason we go after something else shows that that has not satisfied me fully, right? So I keep going after things in my life. This is the first symptom of samsara, because I'm talking about, now we call samsara disease. Samsara is a disease. The very first symptom is acquisition symptom. Second symptom is retention. So what do I already have something that has made me happy. Then I am so afraid to lose it because it has made me happy. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to give it up. So I do all efforts in life to keep it with me. Somehow or other, I manipulate the world, I manipulate people, I manipulate situations so I can keep that thing with me to continue being happy. Security. Then the third symptom of samsara, I don't like. I don't like something. I don't like this. It's making me unhappy. So samsara is not, only positive thing. You want to also get rid of something which is making you unhappy. Something is making you want to avoid something. Coronavirus, I said we want to avoid it. There's a particular person in the office, you don't like them. So every time they come into the staff room, you just run out, So this, there are people like that. There's a saying, some people spread happiness wherever they go. Some people spread happiness whenever they go. So we don't want to be that latter, spread happiness whenever we go. But it's like that sometimes, it's, thank God she's gone. So you want to, avoid somebody because you don't feel comfortable in their presence. Or you want to get rid of something you already have in your possession. You're already married. You already have something in your possession. And years of nagging, wife is nagging. Usually many husbands complain, why nagging? Why can't they leave me alone? And oh my God! Then you want to, in relationships, it's very clear. So you want to remove yourself. You want to get rid of that relationship because it is again not conducive to your happiness. So all of these four are symptoms of samsara to satisfy what? The natural desire to be happy. So this is what Shastra calls the life of becoming, the life of gaining, the life of seeing, this life. So seeking, this is the seeking me. I'm always a seeking me. And what I really love when when all of these four, if they're fulfilled, my desire is fulfilled in any of these four areas, what do we discover? The seeking me has subsided. So actually, I don't want what is really sought. What I want is the seeking me to subside. You have to see that. I don't like to be the seeker. Seeker is pressure because I'm always looking for something in life. The seeking me is what I want to resolve. So, in those moments of happiness that I experience in life, I am devoid of the seeker me. I am content to be who I am, what I am, however I am. That is called happiness. But it is temporary because it is based on what? The seeking me wants to appease the seeking me. Can you appease seeking through seeking? That doesn't make sense, right? This is not logic. So here is where the Vedanta Shastra comes in and says, you don't need to seek anything for your fullness. You don't need to seek anything to feel happy, to feel limitless. So the discovery of unconditioned happiness is a definition of moksha. The discovery of unending satisfaction is what we call moksha. The discovery of completeness, limitlessness is moksha. And the freedom from sorrow, freedom from whatever I don't want is also moksha. And this moksha that we are looking for so much in our lives, because every moment we're actually after moksha. We want that moksha, we don't know it, but that's what we all want. Vedanta says this moksha that you're looking for in everything you do and everything you gain, and all of these four symptoms of samsara, this moksha is your very true nature. Your nature as a person is Atma. This Atma, which is the real self. So there is the persona self, which is the individual self, which is what I identify with at the moment. And that is why I can't bear the limitations of that individual self. But the real self, that Atma, that is Purnam, that is completeness, and that everybody has access to if you want to discover that. The discovery of that Atma to be the real nature of oneself means discovering freedom from all that you don't want. Moksha is actually from the Sanskrit root much to be free, freedom from all that you don't want. And in fact, this is what is called liberation. Liberation is not in our Sanatana Dharma. It is not after death, actually. Who cares what happens really after death? Do we really know? We don't really know. It is just we have some kind of things, people unfold. Maybe Swarga is there, maybe a heaven is there. Different religions have different beliefs. But really, why do we need to work in this life for after death? We don't really know what's going to happen. Here, the discovery is here and now. Everybody's birthright is to discover moksha for themselves and live happily contented lives throughout one life, and you don't have to remove yourself from the situation you're in. If you discover yourself to be a purnam, limitlessness, then where is the question of removing yourself? You don't need to. So here is when Vedanta says this Atma, whole spiritual journey begins when you recognize moksha is the one thing I'm after in life through all the other pursuits. And the Vedanta gives a solution for that urge. Vedanta gives the solution. What is that? What is that solution? Discover yourself. Discover yourself as Atma. That is the only way you can satiate that urge to be happy always. So this is where one understands when you discover Atma, Atma is the nature of asangaha, uninvolved, unaffected by anything. So whatever is happening, it doesn't affect Atma. When you recognize you are the movie screen, how can the movie affect you? All, whether it's a horror movie, it's a violent movie, it can be a love story, it can be a comedy, it can be any movie. Can the movie affect you when you discover you're the movie screen? No, because movie is a mere projection. So discovery of Atma is discovering yourself to be already free. It is not something gained in time and space. It is discover that you're already free. And we have these moments of freedom throughout our waking day. In fact, we don't even recognize. No, the happy person, when it is there, the happy, pleased me when it comes up, that is also a moment of moksha. Because as I said, in that happy, pleased person, there is no seeking me. I don't wish for anything to be different. This happy me, when I look at Ganga or I sit there, I look at the mountains. Sometimes I have this glimpse, the sunrise is there, sunset. Then there is a pleased me. How did the pleased me come? The pleased me came because my desiring, wanting, lacking me is gone. For that moment in time, that me has disappeared. And that's what we call joy. That's what we call happiness. Unfortunately, we're not able to sustain it because we keep wanting something to trigger the pleased me. Once the pleased me is triggered, I love that thing. But the problem is, outside cannot keep triggering pleased me. The same object does not trigger the same feeling in me if I experience it again and again and again. Then it gets boring. Then I go after something else. So, in moments of moksha, we have all experienced. That's why we want those moments back again and again. So, human beings, this is the why moksha becomes a purushartha. It is something to be chosen. A human being is a self-judgmental creature. You don't see elephants judging or comparing the size of the tusks. Living in Anekati, lots of wild elephants used to come. But I never saw them standing in a row saying, your tusk is bigger than my tusk. My tusk is tiny tusk. You're this high, I'm only this small. So we don't find that in nature. There's no self-judgment in animals. But human beings are self-judgmental creatures. And because I'm judgmental, self-judgmental, what do? I judge myself on the basis of my body, mind, and senses. Because I take myself to be this much, I judge myself through this. And because I want this to improve, as we saw, the improvement has to be here. I have to keep changing things in life to feel, to feel good, to feel complete. So the sorrow here in life, again, now to summarize, the sorrow is because I am confused regarding that I. I think I am a certain thing. Upanishads have a different vision for me. Vedanta has a different vision for me. Vedanta shows that you are much more than what you think you are. And this is where the word comes in the verse, mudaha. This is all to explain mudaha. Mudamate means people have confusion about moksha. They don't understand what moksha means. Mudamati is somebody, he says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate is a person who doesn't understand life clearly. A person who is doing the same thing again and again without examining what I'm really doing in my life. That is why he's saying Muda Mate. And what is the solution he gives for Muda Matis? He says, Bhaja Govindam. Hold on to Govinda. Hold on to that Govinda. Who is this Govinda? So Govinda can be seen in three levels. So Sanskrit is like that. It's a beautiful language because one word in Sanskrit you can unfold in so many different ways and it is correct. So here, Govinda, Gobihi Vedanta Vakyehi Nyayate means the one who is to be discovered through the words of the Upanishads, through the words of Vedanta. Upanishad and Vedanta are the same thing, by the way, for people who are new. The one who is to be discovered through the words of Vedanta Upanishads is called Govinda. So this, who is to be discovered? What is to be discovered? The one who is to be discovered first is the Atma. He is in the form of the self. That is also Govinda. So worship that real self, that consciousness that you are. Upanishads also reveal Govinda as Srishti, Sthiti, Laya Karanam, which is the creator, the sustainer, and the dissolver of the universe. That Govinda is also Bhagavan on the macro level. That same consciousness resides on the micro level also. So Govinda is also worship of Lord, which is all pervasive Lord, Bhaja Govindam. And finally, the word that we usually equate with Govinda is Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna is known as Govinda. So that is also possible. For Krishna Bhaktas, Govinda becomes worship of Krishna. But we understand it is reaching the one, that Subhashitam, beautiful Subhashitam that says, Akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskaram keshavam pratigacchati. As the rain falls to the earth, and as the rain joins the rivers, and as the rivers reach the one ocean, all the water bodies they go, then all the namaskaras you do to any deity, they reach the one truth alone. So there is only one truth, given different names, given different forms. So Govinda has three meanings like this. And the repetition, Bhaja Govinda means that this worship of Govinda, we'll understand what worship is. Worship is not just merely doing puja every day. That is a form of worship. But people have different forms of worship. We cannot just limit it to this form. People have various forms. But the real worship, Ramana Maharishi, a great sage of Bharat, he was a great Advaita, jnani. We call him a jnani, a wise person. He says in Upadesha Saram, this whole Jagat is your puja room. Where is your puja reserved to this tiny place in the kitchen or a tiny room? Whole Jagat is your puja room. Whenever you are dealing with people, you are worshipping me alone. When you're talking with somebody, you're talking with me alone. All altar is this Jagat, this universe. He says, Jagata Ishadi Yukta Sevanam. Take to the service of all because you're serving Bhagavan alone. Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Brit Deva Pujanam. You're doing puja to Bhagavan alone, whatever you do. So in that way, worship Govinda is not just merely chanting Bhaja Govindam. It is seeing Ishvara in everything, seeing that order in everything. We'll see that more. And he brings in here, he says, Samprapte sannihite kale. Samprapte means when the time comes. Samprapte. What time? Kale sannihite. When Yama, Lord Yama is approaching. Yama is coming close. So that means what? Does it mean 70, 80? Do we know when? Yama is coming close all the time. God knows. One day, see, we had one Swamini last year, 1st of January. She had just celebrated her 60th Shashtabdi Purti. She had come, her students had celebrated in South. And she had come here. She finished one puja and she collapsed there at the Adhisthana. Gone. Total, just like that, in 1 second, just gone. Breath is gone. We could not revive her or anything. So when do we know Yama's coming? Does he give an invitation or do we give invitation? Does he give any advanced warning? Yeah, today, Tuesday at 4, I will be there with my dutas. Then you'll be worrying. Then you'll be worrying all the time. Oh, death is approaching. So we're not giving any warning. Samprapte means kale sannihite. When Lord Yama is approaching, when your time to exit comes, nahi rakshati. Nahi means it won't. It's negative particle in Sanskrit, double negative to emphasize. All the knowledge you have will never protect you, cannot protect you. You may have knowledge in all fields. What do they call them? Polyglots. Is it polyglot or polymath? There are two. Polyglot is somebody who knows all languages. I think polymath is somebody who knows all subjects. There are some very, polymath. You know all the subjects in all the world. Like sage Narada, there's another story in the Upanishad. He goes to this Prajapati or Sanat Kumara. So he goes to Sanat Kumara, sage Narada, and Sanat Kumara asks him, what do you know? What have you studied? So he has a huge list And if you see, that list he has, I've studied the Vedas, I've studied Upavedas, I've studied Vedangas, I've studied Sanskrit, I've done this, I've done that. He gives a huge list. And then what does he say at the end of the list? But I don't know how to get out of sorrow. I don't know how to get out of this sorrow in life. I've done everything, I've got everything, got all the degrees, but I don't know how to get out of sorrow. So what does Sanat Kumara say? He says, Atmavit Shokam Tarati. The knower of Atma alone will cross over sorrow. So here, Nahi Nahi Rakshati means all this learning, all of this will not protect you when the time of death comes. So your grammar rules, everything will not protect you. But at the same time, doesn't mean we don't study. Everything has its place in the scheme of things. It is useful. Sanskrit is useful. To understand, to unlock words of Vedanta, you need some Sanskrit if you're interested to know. So, any other body of knowledge is also very useful to function in the world. It is useful. But what he is advising is that don't think that is going to save you alone. You have to make effort in spiritual life to understand. Now, another reading of this is Dukrin Karane. Dukrin, the verb that he has taken actually means kru, to do. So, this activity to do, why is it important? Because karma has no access to moksha. We saw that. Action, what can action produce? Any action, if we understand the law of action and reaction, action has 4 types of results. We saw yesterday, but you can, in Sanskrit, another way of understanding, prapyam. Through action, you can reach a place, you can acquire something, prapyam. Place, person, and objects under this result of action. Utpadyam, you can produce or create something through action. So examples of production and creation are what? Food produce, agriculture, business. You create a business, you start a business, art, you can produce art. There's so many things you can put under production as well. You can samskaryam. Through action, you can purify something, like turning carbon into diamond, or you can refine oil. You can purify something. Action can also purify. Even if we take through karma yoga lifestyle, I can purify my antahkarana. That is also purification. And I can transform. So the 4th type of activity is transformation, vikaryam, it is called in Sanskrit. I can transform, you have these reality shows in UK anyway, of taking a very rundown house and they transform it into a dream home, right? So you can do activities to transform a thing, an object. You can transform things. But what is the limitation of all these 4? Efforts are limited. We cannot do all efforts. And results of karma also will be limited, which means everything that can be changed through action can also change back. So that dream home that you had produced, after a few years, it becomes decrepit home. So it can come back to original, nature as well. So everything keeps on changing. It does not last. So this is why he's saying karma has no access to moksha. And this is one of the most important things that Vedanta highlights. Why? Because we don't need to do anything for moksha. See, we have this idea, theory and practice, always in the, I have to learn something theory and then I have to practice it. I have to do something, I have to practice. Whole of world functions on theory and practice. Here, moksha doesn't require theory and practice. That practice is for purifying the mind. But to discover moksha, what do you need? To remove ignorance. So ignorance becomes the main thing to get rid of. And what is opposed to self-ignorance? Mathematics knowledge. If I gain mathematics knowledge, can I remove self-ignorance? If I gain biology knowledge, can I remove self-ignorance? No. What is opposed to that specific ignorance, that specific knowledge removes? So self-ignorance, what is opposed to self-ignorance? Self-knowledge. So that is why moksha pursuit becomes now a pursuit for self-knowledge. Self-knowledge alone, you recognize, is going to give you what you really want. So here in the first verse, Bhagavan is saying, Adi Shankaracharya, take to this path of self-knowledge. All the other knowledge is not going to save you. It can help you function in the world. It can help you in the world. It is not obsolete. It is not useless. It can help. But ignorance about yourself is the main issue. Once that ignorance is gone, you discover yourself to be limitless, whole, which you want. So that second verse, he carries on with this. We'll chant it. You can chant it twice. मूढजहिहि धनागमतृष्णाम् कुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णाम् यल्लभसे निज कर्मोपातम् वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तम् Whole verse together. Moodajahihi dhanagamatrishnam Kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishnam Yallabhasi nijakarmopatam Vittam tena vinodaya chettam Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. So the next verses you'll see he speaks about seeing the limitations of Atta and Kama. So here he says, give up this greed, Muda Jahihi. Jahihi, give up this Dhana Gama Trishnam, the thirst for amassing wealth. Why do we keep amassing wealth? Have we ever thought about it? Not everybody amasses wealth. Some people amass wealth. Some people, it comes in one hand, goes out the other. So it is not everybody amassing, but generally we have this projection as humanity, I think, that it is called Shobana Adhyasa. It is a collective projection of humanity on wealth. What do we project on wealth? That if I am wealthy, I will be happy. If I have money, I will feel secure. This is collective world projection on wealth. This is called in Sanskrit Shobana Adhyasa. I give wealth a value, or we all give wealth a value more than it actually deserves. We don't say wealth doesn't deserve value. So we have to be careful here. Wealth does bring in certain things in life. Wealth does bring in certain comforts. Wealth does bring in certain self-esteem, status, all of that. But investing all my security, all my feeling of I will be safe, I will be secure by storing money, what does it show? That it is not right. It is going to go one day or other. We don't know when it's going to go. See, that demonetization showed people have stored in their homes. I saw one small video clip that had come, of somebody's house in their basement. All these 2,000 rupee notes, bundles and bundles, crores and crores of 2,000 rupees overnight, it became nothing. Totally lost its. So I think that wealth is going to give me, again, security. This is called Shobana Adhyasa. If you examine the lives of very, very wealthy people, are they really happy? Have they really found happiness? Maybe we cannot say generalize, maybe some wealthy people are happy. But you see a lot of wealthy people not happy. And, if you look at people who have won lotteries overnight, there was a story also I read in the paper. There was a person in UK had won $150 million or 115 million pounds overnight. And you see, first of all, what happens? You've got that much money. What do you want to do? Cars. So they buy 100 cars. Then houses here, there, everywhere. So all of this becomes a very important thing to gain. Then you spend on pleasures. You spend all of this. Finally, he ended up with zero on drugs. And he was addicted to drugs with nothing in his bank account. So it is not that everybody spends like that unwisely, but when we come into wealth, we have to see if you have more properties, you have to worry about maintaining the properties. That's another big hassle, NRIs buy properties in India, then they go through so much problem. All their time is spent on maintenance, taking care, or paying this one, that tax, that tax. So it becomes actually a burden. Why do we need? So he's asking, examine. You see, you think it's only thinking in your thinking that it's dangerous not to have money. It is only our thinking. But this greed to amass wealth, he's saying reduce it. How do I reduce it? Money, I understand, I give value to money that it deserves. Money has some use, but I recognize it is not going to satisfy me totally. Even if I win £1 million, $1 million, it is not going to satisfy me totally. So Bhagavan says here, give up this dhana agama trishnam. Give up that thirst, that longing to have money. Because once you have that space, you've given money the proper place in life, then sat buddhim kuru, he says, spend that time that you spend in trying to accumulate wealth and amass wealth, spend it on good purposes. Sat buddhim. Spend it on understanding the truth, on understanding spiritual knowledge. Because you need time and space for inquiry. So this Vitrishna means, Swami Dayananda used to say, Vitrishna, freedom from any longing, will be like a bald person walking through a supermarket, walking through the aisles of shampoo in a supermarket. He has no desire for having any of the shampoo because he's bald. So that is, you lose your longing, you lose your trishna, your thirst for this money. If it comes, it comes. You don't reject it. See, there's also this feeling in when I become more spiritual, I should not be material. This is not correct thinking. Where is material and spiritual? Everything is Bhagwan, right? There's no such thing. This is material, this is spiritual. So some people who are interested in spiritual life, no, I can't have this. I can't have that. They have this other side as well, where they want to live in total poverty, total nothing. See that both extremes are dangerous, whether you want this amassing wealth or that side as well. Whatever life gives you, you accept. It is Bhagavan giving you. And whatever life gives you, you enjoy. So if life gives you a lottery ticket, you win £1 million, enjoy. But the main thing inside, you be clear. This money cannot give me what I really want. That's what he's saying here. And with that comes, with a lot of money, other problems also start coming. There's fear that comes. There's, fear of theft, fear of loss. All of this you have to undergo as well. So he says here, yallabhase nija karmo patam. Yallabhase means whatever you gain, yallabhase, whatever you have gained, nija karmo patam means swakarma upatam, whatever out of your own earning, out of your own action, whatever you have done through your own efforts, be satisfied with it. Vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Why isn't it enough for you? Be satisfied. Yes, I'm stacking the shelves in supermarket. So what? In fact, the people who are stacking shelves in supermarkets were the ones who were during COVID time, they were the ones who were helping whole of humanity, right? The self stackers. the dustbin collectors, all of those which are called blue collar jobs, they were the ones who were actually helping in all the countries. So tava chittam vinodaya, which means be content. Vinodaya means be content, be happy with what you have. It's such a beautiful quality to develop. See, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, he includes this in Niyama. Santoshaha, he calls it. Beautiful word, Santoshaha. Santoshaha means whatever you have, you are grateful for it. See, when we get up in the morning, sometimes it is very good to do this exercise. Instead of seeing what I'm lacking, what I don't have, because mind will immediately go, I don't have this, I want this, you have the list. Have a list near your bed saying what I already have. Have a list. Attitude of gratitude is this santosha. When you see what you have, you'll see, my God, Bhagavan has blessed us so much. Why am I looking at what I don't have? We look at what we have. That will reduce this greed for wealth, greed for amassing. So what Adi Shankaracharya is advising here is shift your attitude. It is not shifting your bank account and reducing it. It's your attitude that requires shifting. And he's pointing out here, it is very important to develop this vairagya, dispassion towards this passion for wealth, dispassion towards passion for accumulation. Whatever you have, your karma, whatever, through your activities, through your action, be content with it. And even if you have to live in a small one bedroom place, be happy with it. Don't compare. That's why what do we do? Usually, uh, there's a saying in English, keeping up with the Joneses. I don't know, people who know. Keeping up with the Joneses means you look at your neighbor and they have acquired something new, so you want to also get that. So everybody's keeping up with their Joneses. So you're looking, oh, this one has that one, I have to get this. What does it look like if I don't have, everybody else has it, I don't have. So whole of society, it triggers your smallness. So you have to be in line with everybody. Here he's saying, if you're interested in spiritual life, you don't need to conform to what society says. You live a simple life. If you're in fact living a contented life is itself success, right? If we can discover contentment in our lives, what greater success is that? I can live, but it takes a long time to see that. So I learn to reduce my wants. I am happy. Now, what I've done in the next verse, I have not gone to third verse because I connected 29th verse. As I said, Adi Shankaracharya's disciples have also added verses here. So 29th verse is also dealing with wealth, and I thought we can take that and you can repeat after me because he gives some more limitations of wealth. He says, Arthamanartham bhavaya nityam.
Arthamanartham bhavaya nityam.
Twice.
Arthamanartham bhavaya nityam.
Nasti. One second, to find it.
Page number 18.
Yeah. Nasti tata sukhalesha satyam.
Nasti tata sukhalesha satyam. Nasti tata sukhalesha satyam.
You can actually, Sandhi, you can start it like that, but you can also, maybe that's easier. Nasti tata sukhalesha satyam.
Nasti tata sukhalesha satyam. Nasti tata sukhalesha satyam.
Putradapi dhanabhajam bhitihi.
Putradapi dhanabhajam bhitihi. Putradapi dhanabhajam bhitihi.
Sarvatresha vihita ritihi.
Sarvatresha vihita ritihi. Sarvatresha vihita ritihi.
Whole verse together. Arthamanartham bhavaya nityam nasti tata sukalesha satyam putradapi dhana bhajam bhiti sarvatresha vihita riti Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate. So he says here, wealth actually doesn't give any happiness. Basically saying wealth doesn't really bring happiness if you examine it, because for the wealthy, there is even fear from their own progeny. For the very wealthy, there's fear from putra dapi bhita. He says here, dhana dhana bhajam bhitihi. There is fear from your own son because of the wealth you have. We have seen in big business families also, they're ready to split, ready for the parents to pop off, right? Because the money is there. So this very interesting wealth we think is going to give happiness. In this verse, he says wealth is artha is actually anartha. He's using a play on the words. This artha, wealth, is anartha, which means everything you don't want, problems, issues, all of this, it is anartha. You don't want it. Anartha can also mean, any kind of himsa, injury, calamity. All of this is also included in wealth. And we don't question all of that because there is pain associated with artha. Earning money, first of all, is a lot of pain. I need money. Some jobs they make you work, 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 work. There's no where is work and playtime. There's nothing, right? This work-life balance. Where is that in some places? So we're earning. So earning money is also a big pain. There's a lot of pain. Efforts to earn can be very painful. And when you make efforts to earn money, you have to give up time with family. There's always another loss, right? You hear, we hear as Swaminis, people come and tell us, oh, he's always at work. So many people we hear. My husband is always working, working. He never comes, on holidays with us. He's not with us. He's always he loves his job more than us. So, you know, people come and say that. Why? Because it becomes it possesses you. Wealth, actually, you don't possess wealth, it possesses you. So it turns around like that. And you give up a lot of, you have to sacrifice a lot of things. Everything also is constantly changing. You may have a lot of wealth. 2008, everybody discovered all the stocks crashed, banks went bankrupt, banks themselves went bankrupt. People lost everything overnight. In fact, I heard a story of one whole family, could kill themselves. The father killed the family, then killed because they lost all their wealth overnight, and their whole security was placed on what wealth they had. If they had only, I was only thinking at that time, if you had Vedanta with you, you would not have done this. But humanity is like that. They think, this is what defines us. So wealth can become anartha as well. Artha becomes anartha because anything can happen anytime to it. You think it's safe in the bank, then suddenly inflation happens and it becomes useless, the money in the bank, right? All the savings. Anything can happen. So he says, Bhavaya, please examine this. Please remember, Bhavaya means think about it. Think about the nature of wealth. Don't give exaggerated value. We saw in the previous verse, give it the value it is due. Okay, don't give exaggerated value, more value. Swami Dayananda used to say, I always remember Swamiji's brilliant sayings. He said, life is growing from being uncomfortably unhappy to becoming comfortably unhappy. So people want to, they think by accumulating, you become comfortable. But the unhappiness still remains. It's like a thread through all of that. So he says, Tataha tasmat atat, from wealth, nasti sukha lesha, there's not actually a bit of happiness from wealth. You think he's going very extreme. I don't know which of the disciples wrote this, but there's not even. We have to take it with a pinch of salt. Of course, wealth can give some happiness, but it is not going to give ultimate happiness. Um, there's a let's see if I can remember. Money cannot buy a no, money can buy a house, but money cannot buy a home. Money can buy books, but money cannot buy knowledge. I mean, there's a whole list of things like that. Money can buy, it has purchasing power. You have buying power, but it can't buy you happiness. There is a saying as well like that. It is not a corny saying, it is true what is being said there. So, putrad api dhana bhajam. There is fear, definitely. There will be fear from not just putra. With putra, you include all your relations. If you are loaded in the family, that's it. People will, while you have the money in the family, everybody will be friendly to you. But we don't know. They're waiting for you to pop off. Who has he left this to in his will? Who has he left this to in his will? The will becomes a big, point of contention. In many countries, they take people to court. They take, to say, oh, this belongs to me, this belongs to me. So when you have a lot of wealth, even your own children, we don't know what is in their minds. So he says there's bhitihi, there's fear from your own, people. So sarvatra eshaha ritihi. Now he's saying this sarvatra means everywhere. Ritihi is this order. This is the case everywhere. So he has also seen the world. Whichever disciple has written this shloka has actually traveled. This is the case in the US, this is the case in the UK, this is the case in India, it's a case in Africa. The same thing when wealth is there, when you have a lot of wealth, you will have these problems that come with wealth, which are called anartha. This vihita, this is enjoined. So I think we will leave the Bhaja Govindam. We'll do the next verse tomorrow. So we have 31 verses. I'll try and speed it up a bit, but it's important you have the foundation for the text you understand, because some of you are new. So we have to understand Purushartha before we do the verses. Okay. So we can just chant the first few verses. Let's see if we can do that. 1, 2, and 29. Yeah, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane, Muda Jahihi Dhanagama Trishnam, Guru Sadbuddhim Manasi Vitrishna Yallabhasi Nija Karmopatam Vittam Tena Vinodaya Chittam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudamate Arthamanartham bhavaya nityam nasti tata sukalesha satyam putradapi dhanavacha bhiti sarvatresha vihita niti bhaja govindam bhaja govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudamate Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudamate Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina
Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchit Dukha Bhave Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamada पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ